College Board SAT practice test number 1, and I'm going to get started. Section 3, here we go. Number 1. Alright, just multiply 3 on both sides. Cancel that shit, x minus 1. That's 처음부터. Alright, so this is College Board, the SAT practice test number 1. It's available on College Board website. So let's get started. Section 3, number 1, x minus 1 over 3 is k. K is 3, so just put that shit in there. Multiply by 3 on both sides. Cancel that shit. X minus 1 is equal to 9. You add 1 on both sides, and there you have it. X is equal to 10. Next, number 2. I is that shit, so you just add 7 and negative 8, so that's negative 1. And then 3i, 9i, that's 12i, so there it is, A. Number 3. On Saturday, blah, 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 I don't give a shit. Armin sent M text messages for 5 hours, so I'm looking at 5M, and that's fucking enough. See, move on. Next, number 4, Kathy's a repair technician. I don't give a shit. Each week, I don't give a shit. The number of phones, blah, blah, blah. So this is the equation. That's the linear equation, and P is the number of phones she left, and D is the number of days that she has worked that week. So what is the meaning of the 108? Well, they told you P is the number of phones, so that 108 is probably something about number of phones. Well, 108, well, she works on all these phone repairs or whatever, so 108 is probably how many phones she got to begin with, so probably B it is. Next, number 5. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression above? Okay, that minus negative of that, so that would become plus, so that would be 2x squared y, get rid of A and B. And between C and D, well, does it have the y squared or not? Well, you can check the middle terms if you would like. So, negative 3y squared minus negative 3y squared. So that becomes a plus. So negative 3y squared plus 3y squared, they just cancel. No y squared should be there, so C it is. Number 6, a pediatrician, whatever, between age of 2 and 5. Based on the model, what is the estimated increase? They're talking about increase. What tells you the increase in an equation that looks like this? Linear equation, it's the slope. 3 it is. Next, number 7. Fuck all that. You don't need to know any of these terms. The way you think about it is you're trying to leave this P alone. If you guys see this, well, P is right there. So all you got to do is just move all those freaking chisels to the other side. So I'll just call this, I don't know, man. I'll just call this smiley face, a sad face, and a star. So you would multiply both sides by star, sad face, and smiley face, right? To cancel. So you would leave that the P alone, right? So that would cancel all that. So what do you get? P is equal to M, and then whatever, 1 chisel on top and 2 chisel on the bottom. And that basically looks like B. Enough is enough, right? You really don't have to write all that shit. It's a waste of time. Number 8. A over B is 2. So what is the value of 4B over A? Well, I mean, you can go ahead and plug shit in. So you can just be like, this is 4 and this is 2. You can do that. So A is just a 4. B is a 2. You cancel that 4. So it's 2 it is. Number 9. What is the solution? Yeah, you want to solve for X and Y. They kind of flip that shit, though, the y and the x, so I'm just going to rewrite that. Negative x plus 2y is equal to negative 19. I'm going to write it like this. And then, let's see. Looking at the answer choices, I see 2 of the y's that are the same. So if I ever get that value, then I would have to pick again between C and D. So I'm just going to check for the x value, because if y'all notice, they're all different. So I'll solve for the x. I'll multiply this by negative 2. So then you take that same thing. 3x plus 4y is equal to negative 23. And then there will be positive 2x minus 4y is equal to 38. Cancel that shit. 5x is equal to 15. So x is equal to 3. Enough is enough. Next, number 10. For the function g of 4 is 8. G of negative 4. If you guys think about it, if you're plugging a 4 there, well, that would be a16 plus 24. If you fucking put negative 4 in there, if you notice, that's still going to give you 8 times 16 plus 24. If you notice, the same shit. Whether it's a positive 4 or a negative 4, it doesn't matter because shit's being squared, right? So it's just going to give you the same exact value. 8 it is. Another way to think about it is a parabola, right? I mean, it's a fucking quadratic function, so it's going to be a parabola. So whatever the hell the y value is on the positive side, where x is equal to 4, there better be the exact same value over there on the left side, x is equal to -4. All right, number 11, equation, blah, 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 blah. What was the price per pound of beef when it was equal to the price per pound of chicken? So just set them equal to each other. So 2.35 plus 0.25x is equal to 1.75 plus 0.40x. So go ahead and subtract 0.25x on both sides and subtract 1.75 on both sides. So when you do that, and then you get 0.60 is equal to 0.15x. Who the fuck likes decimals? Just move that. So 60 is equal to 15x. Divide by 15s on both sides, and there you have it. X is equal to 4. Are you fucking done? No, man. You just solve for the x. They want the price per pound. So what do you do with this shit? Plug it back in. I'll just plug it back into the top one just because. That'll be 2.35 plus 0.25 times 4. That's 4 quarters. That's $1. So just 1. So that'll be 3.35, making an answer choice D. Number 12, a line in the xy plane passes through the origin, so 0, 0, and it's got a slope of 1/7. So we have the linear equation, y is equal to mx plus b. So the slope is 1/7 x, and then y-intercept is 0, so just skip that writing. So which of the following points lies on the line? Well, you can check one at a time. I like to start from the bottom. So if you try that shit, 2 is equal to 1/7 times 14. If you notice, that cancels to 2. There it is. Move on. Next. Number 13. Which of the following is equivalent to this shit? If you guys noticed in the answer choices, there's no fraction over fraction as compared to this original. So what you're supposed to do is you multiply by x plus 2 and x plus 3 on top and bottom. And the reason you do this is because so that you would cancel the freaking fractions like that. So on the bottom, you got that x plus 3. And then you do that, and that cancels the x plus 3, so that'll be x plus 2. And then on the top, I got that x plus 2 times x plus 3. And at this point, you're fucking dumb because it needs to be a fraction, and the top is something being foiled, and that looks like choice B. I want to really double check. All right, number 14. 3x minus y is equal to 12. What is the value of 8x, 8 to the x over 2 to the y? Okay, you can't really fucking divide right now because 8 and 2 are different coefficients. So what you need to do is change that 8 into a 2 to the 3 power. And why the fuck would you do that? Because then you can multiply that, so that becomes 2 to the 3x over 2 to the y. Now you have the same base, so you can go ahead and subtract the coefficient, the exponents, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're dividing whatever the exponential expressions that have the same basis. So that would be 2 to the 3x minus y power, and they gave you what 3x minus y is. That's a 12. So that's 2 to the 12 power. Answer choice A. Number 15, all right, so just foil that shit, and that, right? So first of all, I got that 15x squared from the ax and the bx. So what I know is it could have been like 15 and 1 or 3 and 5 and more shit like that, but they tell you that a plus b is 8, so it could have been like 3 and 5 or 5 and 3, whichever one. What are 2 possible values for c? Yeah, they're probably asking for 2 possible values because you could probably do 3, 5 or 5, 3, whichever one, right? So I'll just do 3, 5 as I just initially put. So if you foil that shit, that'll be 15x squared plus 21x plus 10x plus 14. And that gives you 31x, which is probably going to match that shit. And C could be 31, and only choice D got that. Will I check the other 41? Oh, fuck no. I'm too lazy for that. Number 16. So add 4 on both sides. T squared is equal to 4. Square root both sides. T is equal to plus or minus 2. But then we're talking about T being greater than 0, so just 2 it is. And plus on the bubble sheet section, like where you fill in these fucking for response, you can't bubble in negatives. If y'all notice, like if you look at this shit, you see there's no negative freaking option, right? So that's why you can't do that. So it's got to be the positive one. Number 17 is goddamn long. I don't want to read that shit. And then the length represented by AB, EB, BD, and CD are 18. Okay, stop. There's too much. AB is 1800, so let's go. 1800. And then EB is 1400, so 1400. And then BD is 700, 700. And CD is 800, so 800. Okay, so what is the value of X? So you want that X. If you notice, 1400, 700 are 2 triangles. It's probably double. So that guy is probably double the 800, 1600. All right, number 18. According to system's equation, what is the value of x? So we want the x. Let's cancel the y. I'll grab the top one and multiply by -2. Why? Because then negative 2x minus 2y is equal to positive 18. Cancel that shit. Negative x is equal to negative 7. X is 7. In a right triangle, draw a right triangle. One angle measures x. Put that x right there. Sine is 4 over 5. 4 over 5. What is cosine 90 minus x? Well, if you think about it, well, triangle is 180, but there is already that 90 degrees, so subtract the 90 degrees. So you got 90 degrees. We'll just call this y. So this x and y should together add to 90. So if you subtract x on both sides, y is equal to 90 minus x. So whatever the fuck the question's asking, they're basically asking cosine of y. So you just go to the angle y right there and do adjacent, which is 4, over hypotenuse, which is 5. So the answer is just 4 over 5, the same exact shit. Number 20, A is that. So 2A, okay, so let's plug that shit in. So 2A, which is 5 rad 2, is equal to rad 2x. So 10 rad 2 is equal to rad 2x. Go ahead and square both sides. So that'll be 100 times 2 is equal to 2x. Divide by 2's. And there you have it. X is equal to 100. And that's the end of section 3. Section 4. John runs. Oh, I don't want to read that shit. On which of the following increasing, then strictly decreasing. So strictly increasing, then strictly decreasing. All right, that looks like right there, doesn't it? Strictly increase and strictly decrease. Like there's no fucking, you know, stalling in between. So what is that? That's like 40 minute to 60 minute, and that's choice B. Number 2. Okay, y is 24, x is 6. Put that shit in there. So that'll be 24 is equal to k times 6. So divide by 6 on both sides, and you get k is equal to 4. All right, so what is the value of y when x is 5? Do that again. Y is equal to k. I know that's a 4. X is a 5, so that's 20. Next, number 3. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to read. If the angle measure of 1 is 35 degrees, so that's probably 35, 35, 35. They want 2. Well, look at it. That looks more than 90, so get rid of all these. It's just D. Number 4. 16 plus 4x is 10 more than 14, so just solve that shit. So 16 plus 4x is equal to 24. Subtract 16 both sides. 4x is equal to 8. They want 8x, so just multiply this shit by 2. Then you get 8x is equal to 16. Next, number 5. Negative association. Strong negative association. Shit's going down. That's cool. I don't know. That's a no-no. And that's coming down. Oh, between A and D, well, this is more clear that it's a one goes up, the other goes down. So as you go to the right, X increases, but the shit's coming down, meaning your Y value is decreasing. Number 6, blah, 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 blah. How many 1 milligram doses are there in 2 decagram container? Okay, so 2 decagram, if you just use that table up there, you should kind of know this already, but yeah, 2 decagram would be 20 grams, right? And then, well, 20 grams, they give you 1 gram is 1,000 milligram. So 20 grams should be 20 times of this shit, which is 2,0,0,0,0. So there it is, 20,000 milligrams. All right. Yep. And then number 7, the number of whatever. The total number is 27,500. What is the appropriate label? So if you count the numbers, 9, 5, 6, 4, 3.5, you add all that shit, that gives you 27.5, and it's not a coincidence. How do you get to the 27,500? You just got to move 3 to the right, meaning it's probably in thousands, because it's 3 zeros. Number 8, what value of n is that shit equal to 0? So subtract 1 on both sides. Absolute value of n minus 1 is equal to negative 1. That doesn't fucking make any sense, because if you guys think about it, what does absolute value do? It just turns everything fucking into positive. So how do you take absolute value of something and you get negative? That doesn't make any sense. So that's why there's no value that's going to work for that. Number 9, which of the following expresses the air temperature in terms of the speed of a sound wave? Okay, well, fuck that. I don't want to read that. Well, it's just right there. You just have to play with it. So you will subtract 1052 on both sides. So you get A minus 1052 is equal to 1.08 T, and divide by 1.08 on both sides, and that's what the T should equal to, which is answer choice A. Number 10, which of the following air temperature will the speed of sound waves be close to 1,000 feet per second? So speed of sound wave is going to be 1,000. So if you look at it, A is the speed of sound waves. So you just set the A equal to 1,000. So 1,000 is equal to 1052 plus 1.08 T. So go ahead and subtract 1052 on both sides. So you get negative 52 is equal to 1.08 T. Go ahead and divide by 1.08. I can't fucking do that in my head. I just use my calculator. And I get t is equal to negative 48.148, which is B. Number 11, which of the following numbers is not a solution? If you just move things around, subtract, no, actually, no, let me just subtract 3x on both sides, because I don't want to deal with fucking decimal, the negatives. And then add 3 on both sides, so you get negative 2 greater than or equal to x. So there you have it. So x has to be at most negative 2, if not less. So these are all okay. They're all okay, except this guy. Negative 1 can't be it because x has to be less than or equal to negative 2. Number 12. Based on this diagram, which of the following is close to the average of the number of seats per apple? Well, the way you read this bar graph is if you look at this bar graph right here, that's basically talks about 2 apples. That's got 3 seats each. So that's total of 6 seats in there because one apple's got 3 seats, but you got 2 of that shit. So same thing, there's 20 seats, 6 over here, 14, and that's 27. So if you add them all up, that's a 20. So 40, 46, and 73. And you got 12 apples in total. So number of seats per apple, 73 seats in total per 12 apples. And if you divide this shit, you know 72 divided by 12 is exactly 6. That's got to be a little bit bigger than 6, but probably 6 it is. Number 13, blah, 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 blah. Which of the following categories account for the approximately 19% of all the survey respondents? So just take that fucking 310 and then multiply that shit by 0.19 because that's what 19% would be. And then when you guys do that in your calculator, you get 58.9. So basically 59 people, which is probably that one. Males taking geometry. C. Number 14, table, blah, blah, blah. 21, brown bullhead fish. The outlier measurement of 24 is an error. So this guy's an error of the mean, median, and range, which will change the most if 24 inches removed. Okay, so first off, if you remove that shit, yeah, the mean's gonna go down because you just took out the big guy. And then the median may not change. I don't really know. But range, it'll fucking change, of course, because if you think about it, the range is big minus the small, right? So 24 and 8, before that shit was removed, the range was a 16. If you remove that shit, and then now that 16 is the highest number, so 16 minus 8, that's now an 8. It literally went from 16 to an 8. That's goddamn significant. Yeah, the mean's gonna go down, but you have to understand, that's fucking 21 fish, okay? And you only took out 1 data set. And plus, it wasn't even that big of an island. It wasn't like it was like a fucking 1,000 or something. So, probably the range is gonna change the most. All right, number 15. What does the C-intercept? C-intercept, well, C is the Y here, and then the H is the X here. So that just means 0 hours, because we're talking about that point right there. That's when X is equal to 0. In this case, H is 0, so 0 hours. So very beginning. Something about initial. There you have it, initial. Boom. Number 16. Which of the following represents the relationship with H and C? So just fucking linear equation. The y-intercept sitting at 5, so you can get rid of A and D. And then what's the slope? Well, yeah, some of you would probably do like, oh, that's fucking 3. So rises 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4 runs a 4. So it's this guy, right? Oh, hell no, because if you look at it, that's just 1. But that is 1 unit each. So that's technically 3 units and 1 unit. So rise is 3 over run is 1. Slope must be 3. Answer choice C is correct. Number 17, blah, 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 for what value of x, so these are all your x value, is the value of f of x at minimum. It's happening right there. What's the x? 1, 2, 3, negative 3 it is. Number 18, xy plane, 0, 0 is a solution. Just put that shit in there, 0, 0, 0, 0. Then what do you get? A is greater than 0, B is less than 0. So what do we know about A? It's positive, and B is negative. So which of the following relationship between A and B must be true? Well, shit, my A is fucking positive and B is negative, so A better be greater than B. Number 19, food truck sells salads, $6.50 each, drinks, $2 each. Cool story, bro. The food truck revenue from selling a total of 209 salads and drinks. Stop. So salads and drinks together was a 209, and then it was that much of a profit. You're making $6.50 per salad, and you're making $2 per drink, and together that was 836.50. Systems of equations. What do you want? How many salads? So you want the S, let's cancel the D. Multiply the top shit by negative 2. So that'll be negative 2S minus 2D is equal to negative 518. No, 418, I'm sorry. 418, shit. So get rid of that, and there'll be 4.50s is equal to 418.50. Go ahead and divide by 4.5 on both sides. And then S is equal to, can't do that shit in my head, I'll just use my calculator. And then if you divide that, you get S is equal to 93. Okay, so there it is, 93. Number 20. I'm about a laptop computer. They gave 20% discount off its original price. So whatever the hell the original price was, I'll just call it OP, original price. You got 20% discount, so you multiply by 0.8 because you're only responsible for paying 80% because 20% is discounted off. And then the total amount she paid to the cashier was P dollars. So apparently when you do that shit, that was P. Including an 8% sales tax. Okay, so sales tax is something that you have to pay more, right? So that this whole thing in the green is the discounted price, but you have to pay 8% tax on it. So 8% extra means 108%, so you multiply by 1.08, right? So which of the following represents the original price? Just solve for the original price, the OP in the box. Divide by 0.8 and 1.08, right? Because then, so just do that on both sides, because then you cancel that shit, so you get original price is equal to P divided by 1.08 and 0.8, which is answer choice D. Number 21, don't read on that jack shit, blah, 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 whatever. If a person is chosen at random from those who recall at least one dream, stop it. So we can't pick from everybody. We gotta pick from people who had at least one dream. So the none category doesn't fucking count. So you can only count this one and this one, which is gonna be out of 164. And I'm already thinking it's probably going to be C, so I'll fucking circle it. But if you want to double check, Group Y is 11 and 68 together. If you add them, that gives you 79. But I probably wouldn't have checked that because 164 on the bottom, that's fucking enough. 22 and 23, okay, whatever, shit, this is thousands of dollars. Alright, so which of the following is best approximates the average rate of change? They're talking about slope. The annual budget for agriculture, natural resources, we're talking about right there. From 2008 to 2010, right there and right there. Man, that's the fucking numbers, man. I'll just call that 360,000, and then I'll call that 490,000. I'll just call it like that because I don't know, man. I don't want to deal with that fucking nasty numbers. So the increase was 330,000, but that happened over 2 years. So divide that shit by 2, and that was 65000. But that shit is in thousands, so you put that extra zeros in there. So it's got to be something like this, which is answer choice B. All right, of the following, which program's ratio of 2007 budget to 2010 budget is close to human resource? Human resource program ratio of 2007 to 2010. Human resource 2007 to 2010. Just call that 4 mil. Call that 6 mil. Round it. So that's 4 to 6 ratio, which is 2 to 3 ratio, right? So I'm looking for something 2 to 3 ratio for 2007 to 2010. Start with public safety. So that to that doesn't really look like 2 to 3 to me. Highways and transportation. That to that. Yeah, it doesn't look like 2 to 3. Education. That to that 2 to 3. Yeah, that's good enough. All right, next, number 24. Which of the following is an equation of a circle? So equation of a circle is just this shit. And when you just punch it in with a 0, 4, so that'll be 0 right there, 4 right there. So you can get rid of B and D because it should be a Y minus 4 square. And then the endpoint 4, 3, and 5. I mean, so you need to look for the radius, but if you were too lazy to do that, you should fucking just circle A and move on because this shit actually looks like it's being squared. If you notice, the equation is supposed to be R squared. And between 25 over 9 and then 5 over 3, what looks like shit just got squared? Yeah, that 25 over 9 just looks like that just got squared. But if you want to double check, the way you're looking at it is 0, 4, so your center is right there. And then 4, 3, and 5. So let's just call that 4, 3 and 5, like right there. So the circle looks something like this. So you can go ahead and find the radius by doing distance formula, or fuck that and just do Pythagorean theorem. Just make that little right triangle. That'll be a 4, 3 there. There'll be a 1 there. So you can just run down and call that radius. So 1 square plus 4 3 square is equal to R square. So 1 plus 16 over 9 is equal to R squared. Common denominator, 9 over 9 plus 16 over 9 is equal to R squared. 25 over 9 is equal to R squared. And fucking don't take square root both sides because the right side is R squared, so you're fucking done. There it is. Number 25, the equation above, blah, 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 blah. After approximately how many seconds will the ball what? Hit the ground. So what's going to be the height? If the ball's right there, what's the height? Freaking 0. So there you have it. Just solve that shit. And it says 4.9. Well, fuck that. I'll just call it 5. Who cares? So just add 5t squared on both sides. Then you get 5t squared is equal to 25t. I cancel one of the t's. So 5t is equal to 25 divided by 5s on both sides. So t is equal to a 5. Boom. Number 26, Katarina is a botanist studying for... Oh, mom, she fucking give a shit. She noticed that type A trees produce 20% more than type B did. Okay, stop. So there's that A. I don't know, fucking tree. And then B. And then, so if you want to call this 100% here, that would be 120% there, right? Because it's 20% more. So based on Katarina's observation, if type A trees produce 144 pair, so how many types B? It's just a proportion. Just fucking, set them equal and cross multiply. They call that X. So 1.2X is equal to 144 divided by 1.2 on both sides. And X is equal to 120. Number 27. 10 meters by 10 meters. 10 students each mark off a randomly selected region of the field. Each region is length of 1 meter squared, length of 1 meters. Okay, so if everybody saw that, that's kind of like little shit, 10 by 10. And then it's like friggin' 10 and then 10. So there's a total of 100 regions right there. So that's the picture you have to see first. And then I'm too lazy to read the rest or whatever. So, which of the following is a reasonable approximation of the number of earthworms to the entire field? Okay. So if you look at all this shit, 107, 147, like... Can we just say like each region is about like however many earthworms? If you look at the answer choices, all you see is just like 150s. So probably I would just say, oh, each region's got 150, right? Each region probably has about 150. And you got 100 regions in that. So just multiply that by 100. So 15000, answer choice C. Number 28, system of inequalities. Let's graph this shit. So 2x plus 1. So I don't know, man. Shit like right there. And then slope is kind of steep right there. Y is greater. So you just color the top portion. And then y is greater again. So you start at -1 this time. Kind of flat. So something like that. And then it's greater again. So something like this. So if everybody sees, the friggin' solution region will be all the overlappings over there. The ones I just highlighted. So... which quadrant contains no solution? Well, one's got a little bit of that. One's got a little bit of that, right? And two's got a whole bunch of that. Like, that's all freaking in twos. And three's got a little bit of it too, but freaking four's got nothing. So, quadrant 4. It has no solution in there. Number 29. So, P of 3 is -2. So, what must be true about P of X? Well, if you think about it, what that means is when x is equal to 3, the y is equal to -2. That's basically what it's saying. So if you look at choices A, B, C, that doesn't make any sense because if x minus 5 is a factor, if you want to say that, then x is equal to 5 must be a 0. But is it? I don't know. The question tells me nothing about that. So you can't say that. Same thing. It's got to be x is equal to 2 as a 0. The question tells you nothing about that. Same thing, C, x is equal to -2 should be a 0. The question tells you nothing about that. They said something about -2, but that wasn't for the x value, that was for the y value. So that's fucking out. Which means it's got to be D. Well, let's see what it says. The remainder when P of x is divided by x minus 3 is -2. So when x is equal to 3, y is equal to -2 is basically what it's saying. Easy. Number 30. Which of the following, blah, 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 blah. Vertex. So you can just put that into a vertex form. X minus a squared plus k, and the vertex looks about like 1 and fucking -16 or something. Yeah, and if you look at it, first of all, A and B are in x-intercept form, so that tells you nothing about the vertex. And C and D, well, if you look, okay, fine, that point A, it could be kind of tricky, like for the y value, is it like 16 or is it like -15 or -16? Well, but if you look at the x value, x is 1 for sure. And if you look, D's got the 1 for next to the x corner of the vertex. Pretty easy question. Number 31. Why can husk at least 12 dozen years of corn per hour? If you didn't understand what the fuck that meant, that's totally fine. And at most 18 dozen years of corn per hour. Okay, whatever, man. So 72 dozen years of corn. Okay, so if you assume that it was 12 dozen years of corn per hour, then you could do 72 divided by 12, which is 6. And then if you assume that it was 18, then you could do 72 divided by 18, which is a 4. So what is a possible amount? Anything freaking between in between 4 to 6 is all correct. You just put whatever, 4, 5, 6, whatever works. Number 32. The posted weight limit is 6,000. X identical boxes, each weighing 14 pounds. Stop there. So 14x is what it is. And then if the combined weight of the empty delivery truck and the driver is 4,500 pounds, so 4,500 pounds, together better be less than or equal to 6,000, because that's the limit, right? So, okay, go ahead and subtract 4,500 on both sides. You get 14x is less than or equal to 1,500. Go ahead and divide by 14s on both sides. Man, I can't do that shit in my head, so that's fine. Use your calculator. So you get x is less than or equal to 107.14, so it's got to be less than that shit. And the maximum possible value would be 107, because it's got to be less than 107.14. Number 33, according to the line, blah, 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 the number of shit sold in 2008. 2008, that's 100. Is what fraction of the 2011? That's 160. Just put it over. 160. Boom. Cancel the zeros. Reduce that shit. 5 over 8 it is. Number 34, local television sells time slots, 30-minute intervals. Station operates 24 hours per day, every day of the week. What is the total number of 30-minute slots? Sell for Tuesday and Wednesday. That's 2 days. That's 48 hours in total. Well, each hour you can sell 2 because it's 30-minute time slots, right? So that would be a total of 96 if you just multiply by 2. Number 35. A dairy farmer uses a storage silo, whatever. The volume is 72. What is the diameter? So not radius, but diameter. So here we go. Volume is equal to pi r squared. If you didn't know that shit, it's in the pi squared h. If you didn't know that shit, that's in the front of the packet for you. 72 pi is equal to pi. Radius, I don't fucking know. But height is 8. Okay. Divide by 8 pi's on both sides. So cancel the pi, cancel the 8. So if you do that, 9 is equal to r squared. Square root both sides. R is equal to plus or minus 3. But we're talking about radius. So it's got to be only positive. Do you want to circle the freaking 3 and call it a day? Oh, hell no, man. They asked you for diameter. So multiply that by 2. 6 it is. Number 36. For value of x is a function undefined. Undefined means you get 0 on the bottom. So just grab that shit and set it equal to 0. X minus 5 squared plus 4 minus, times x minus 5 plus 4 is equal to 0. By the way, if you actually FOIL this shit and distribute this shit, you're actually a noob, because that's not how you're supposed to do it. If you look at it, x minus 5 is the same term in both of them. So if you kind of think in a way that, like, you can just be like, square plus 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. So you could just factor that shit as is, and you'll be like, plus 2, plus 2. And then now you can just put that shit back in, x minus 5 and x minus 5. So x minus 5 and x minus 5. This is how you're supposed to do it. So when you do that, you get x minus 3. X minus 3 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 3 it is. Number 3730 has got to do with this shit. Earns 2%. So what you need to be multiplying, what is the value of x? Well, 100, you got to multiply by 1.02 to the power of t, because you're earning 2%, meaning 102% of the original, so that's why it's 1.02. And then lastly, number 38, Jessica's friend Taishan found the 2.5% interest rate as compared to her 2%. So Taishan made an initial deposit of $100, just like what she did, right? And then the same time Jessica made that deposit. After 10 years, how much more money? Okay, so let's just do the math then. So for Jessica, that would be 100 times 1.02 to the power of 10. You're going to have to punch that into your calculator. I can't do that shit in my head, so let's do that. 1.02 to the power of 10. And then multiply that shit by 100. Make sure to keep all the decimals you can until the very end, because you might actually F up if you start rounding too early. That's what I get. And then for Taishan, let's do the same, except 100 times 1.025 to the power of 10, because he's earning 2.5%. Good for him. 1.025 to the power of 10, multiply that shit by 100, and I got 128.008454442. So go ahead and subtract those two differences, because we're looking for the differences. And what I got, when you subtract these two, I got 6.109012 whatever, but it says round to the nearest cent, so that'll be 6.11. It is the final answer. 6.11 should be the final answer. And that basically is the end of the fucking whole practice test number 1.